properties of a rhombus. All right, opposite sides are parallel, so we'll draw our arrows. Opposite sides are congruent. However, on a rhombus, all four opposite sides are congruent. All four sides are congruent. So we're going to just use one congruent mark. Opposite angles are congruent. Consecutive angles equal 180. So this is just the exact same as a parallelogram so far, except that all four sides are congruent. That's one of the differences. And then diagonals bisect each other. Now we have a couple other things that we know about the diagonals. So the diagonals bisect each other. So that makes these two sides congruent and these two sides congruent. However, the diagonals are perpendicular. So that means we have one right triangle here, a second right triangle here, a third right triangle here, and a fourth right triangle here. So it creates four right triangles. And then the diagonals also bisect the opposite angles. So that makes this angle congruent to this angle congruent to this angle congruent to this angle, and this angle congruent to this angle. All right, so let's work with a rhombus. So we're going to start out first of all, and we're going to label what we know. So the first thing that we know is that the diagonals bisect each other. So if JN is 7, then we know LN is 7. We also know that the four sides are all congruent. So if we know JK is 12, we know JM is 12, we know LM is 12, and we know LK is 12. Now, we're trying to find KM. We're missing that line in there. So let's look and see what we know. If we're looking for KM, you'll notice that KN is part of this right triangle. So we can use that information to find KN. So KN is going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is our right angle, so this is our c. We have 12 squared is equal to b squared plus 7 squared. That's going to give us 49 plus b squared is equal to 144. B squared plus 49 is equal to 144. 0 pair out your 49. So now we have b squared is equal to 95. Take the square root of both sides. So b is going to be 9.7. So if we know this is 9.7, then we know MN is 9.7, and we've labeled all the different parts of the rhombus. So JM is 12, JL is 14 because we can add the 7 and the 7. MN is 9.7, we use Pythagorean's theorem, and then MK would be 19.4 because we'd simply add the 9.7 plus a 9.7. All right, let's look at the angles of a rhombus. Now we know that the diagonals of a rhombus bisect the opposite angles. Okay? Bisect the opposite angles. So if I know that this angle is 40, and I know that this angle has been bisected, then I know that angle 6 is also 40. All right, now we're going to use this right triangle. We know that the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular, so that means angle 3 is going to be 90, angle 4 is going to be 90, angle 7 is going to be 90, and angle 8 is going to be 90. If I have a 90-degree angle here and I have a 40-degree angle here, and these three angles must equal 180, then that makes angle 1 a 50. Okay? If we know that the diagonals bisect opposite angles, if angle 1 is 50, angle 2 is 50. If I have a 50 and a 90, then that's going to make angle 5 a 40. If angle 5 is a 40 and the diagonals bisected that angle, then that makes angle 9 a 40. If angle 9 is a 40 and angle 8 is a 90, then that means angle 11 is a 50. And if the diagonals bisected that angle, then that means angle 10 is a 50. And now you know how to work with the rhombus.